All right, ladies, welcome back. Happy Monday. Hopefully, no one has a case of the blues. The sun is out. Hopefully, there's some energy right now, even though it's a Monday. All right, we have a few folks still coming in. And let's see what we hear. Okay, so quick announcement before we get started. So we've been telling you that we're going to give you some details about the pitch competition. And so they're finally here, right? As little bit as it is, but they're here. So we are officially doing the pitch competition in person. All right. Yay. We finally get to see each other in person. It will be in Rochester. Okay. Let me go ahead and drop that information in the chat for you. It's going to be at Connected Communities, their hub. Bear with me one second. Let me find the chat here. All right. And so might help if I put Rochester, New York, right? All right, there we go. So that is the location. All right. We keep saying it's just a pitch competition, but it's not only about the pitch competition. All right. This is also to celebrate everyone that has completed the course. So even if you decide that you just don't want to pitch this time around, absolutely still come. One, because we want to celebrate all the work that you've done throughout the 7 weeks. This is not a small feat. All right. Like we understand this is a ton of work and we want to make sure that we're celebrating you. Secondly, we want to make sure that we are supporting the ladies that reach the finals. Okay, so everybody is welcome. You're also welcome to bring folks to cheer everybody on. So please, please, please keep in mind we would love to see you and we would love to have the support in the room. Okay. That being said, we're super excited because this is the first time that we're actually going to do something in person for She Means Business. And as you've heard before, this is now our 6th year doing this program. So not only are we inviting you, but we're also inviting ladies that have participated in past cohorts of She Means Business, which is great, right? Because that's an opportunity for you to network with other ladies that have participated in the program, excuse me. And again, we continuously tell you, right? Make sure that you're talking to each other because these may be people that you decide you want to collaborate with. These may be people that you find are going to be your customers. Okay. So make sure that you start building your network. Okay. Secondly, let me move the screen over so I can get my notes here. All right. For those of you that do want to participate in the pitch. So remember, you have to make sure that you are abiding by the attendance policy. Okay. That means no more than 2 absences at this point, or, obviously throughout the entire course. Secondly, we're going to send out a registration form for you to fill out super, super quick. Just letting us know, excuse me, that you are interested in participating in the semifinals. Okay. That is going to go out to everyone the latest by Wednesday. So you're either going to see it in an email after class or during lab, we'll put the link in the chat for you to register for that. Okay. Let's see what else. I'm like looking at my notes and it looks like gibberish right now. Okay. Semifinals. So we mentioned this in the very first session, but I'm just going to go over dates again. Okay. So if you're participating in the semifinals, you have to make sure that you complete your pitch deck by May 7th. So all the things that we're going over in these courses, all the emails, the back and forth, things like that with Kim, make sure that you're looking at the template that we sent out early on. It's still available in the Google Drive for you to look at. And then you're coming up with your own pitch deck. Okay, you have to have that completed by May 7th. That is due by 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. No exceptions. Okay, so do not wait till 9:59 p.m. Please don't do it to yourself. Okay, we do not like to be the bad people here. Let's make sure we get those in early enough. Okay. Secondly, semifinals, there's going to be a practice session, and that's going to be for May 11th. That's to practice for the semifinals. Okay, that's not the actual semifinals date. All right.
Excuse,
Semifinal,
excuse
yep.
this Wanda. Will that be um in person, the 511?
No, the only thing in person is going to be like the official graduation slash pitch competition. Everything else is virtual.
Okay. And then
That's a
what's the
great
name
question.
of the template in the drive, in the Google Drive?
I think it literally says pitch deck template. Give
I
me
think.
1 second. Let me just double check for you.
It does.
It does? Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for the question, Wanda. All right. So where was I? The actual semifinal, okay, because remember, you have to go through the semifinals. Then from that, we're gonna select 10 that move on as finalists. So the semifinal, which is virtual, that is gonna happen on May 13th, regular time, 5 p.m. Okay. No exceptions. You can't miss. If you miss the semifinal, you cannot move on to be a finalist. Okay. So just clearing that out just in case anybody's concerned about that. All right. So that's May 13th. And then May 14th, that's when we're going to announce who moves on to the finalists. All right. All right. You guys are gonna actually have two separate one-on-one coaching sessions to prepare you for the pitch. So those that move on to be finalists, you're gonna have two separate one-on-one coaching sessions. All right. We'll give you more details once we get to that point. I don't want to bombard you with even more information, but just so you have an idea, we're not throwing you out to the wolves. Okay. We are trying to prepare you as much as possible. And then the official, like I mentioned earlier, the official pitch competition, final pitch competition, which is also going to be a graduation. That is going to be on Wednesday evening, May 20th. All right, in Rochester. And that's going to be the same time as like we've done the classes. So 5 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. All right. That is it for me right now. Any questions on that before we move forward?
Yes, are children allowed to attend?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Anybody else? Okay. So last thing I'll say about the in-person event, we're capping it at 50 attendees. Okay. We're gonna have food, we're gonna have, non-alcoholic drinks, we're gonna have happy vibes. All right. So I just want to give you an idea of what's gonna happen. And then that's it for me. Those are all the details. And I'm gonna pass it over to Omar to get us started in class. Thank you so much, ladies.
We're good? Excellent. So, good afternoon, ladies. How is everyone today? Let me see. Um, Hello, hello. Can everyone hear me well? Excellent, excellent. So, I'm happy to be back. I'm glad they invited me again. So, super excited to be here. So, for whoever wasn't um, couldn't join last week, um, my ground rules are very, very simple. I would love to see and hear everyone participating. Please ask as many questions. Let's try to, oh, thank you, Jojo. Let's try to make this as fun as we can, as interactive. um, Give me some of the real life cases, some of your questions, and let's build this session together. So today we are going to talk about communicating your business. And I love that um, I hear the intro. about the pitch, the presentations, and all these kind of things. So it couldn't be on a better time because that's basically what are we going to talk about it today. And as I mentioned before, I was talking to Marisol. We had some um, like preset presentations, but that involves a video, and I'd rather to uh, have a conversation with all of you and address any questions and kind of like make it more uh, um realistic and using some of the examples and some of the things that I've seen before. And that way we can build it together. So one of the good things that I've seen and is extremely important, and what I mentioned last week is you need to know your business. You need to understand your industry. You need to uh, have a crazy passion and crazy knowledge about your ins and outs, your numbers. Who are your main competitors? What is your target, your niche of market? What is your mission? What is your vision? Um, what is costing you either the your product or the service that you are offering? What is your competitive advantage? What makes you be different? What makes you be that unique company that will earn my business, will earn me as a client? And this is everything starts from you. I think I asked you that question last week about who is the best sales individual from your organization. And we were hesitating, and at the end, the best salesperson of your own company is you. And you are the one that at first you're going to be selling, you're going to be your own accountant, you're going to be your own operator, your own bookkeeper, your own everything. And knowing exactly all details about your idea, your project, your company, that's how it will be easier for you to transmit it and explain it to yourself. Why so important knowing your things is in different levels. So communicating your business is not necessarily to a panel of judges for a grant or for a prize. You have to do it every single time. You have to communicate your business to your clients. You have to communicate your business to your bank at some point. You have to communicate your business to potential investors, to potential partners, and also you need to communicate your business to some of your peers, to some networking events that at that particular point, depending on however you are able to present it, that's when you attract some of the curiosity and and attention of potential candidates for whatever you're looking for. Okay. So going back to this, knowledge. Know your idea and start to practice on how you can present it. Whether if it's going to be in a short presentation, the elevator page, whether if it's in 30 seconds and 1 minute, or depending on the audience, you need to make sure that you have something crafted that you are able to go ahead and communicate it and make it natural, make it simple, and a little passionate, which is one of the main characteristics of entrepreneurs and business owners. Now, so far we're good? Yes? No questions? Oh, I love it. So we're gonna make it easier today. Thank you, Danielle, for the thumbs up. So now, uh, these pitch sessions, one of the activities that the bank had said, and not just the bank, the easiest way to present or communicate your business. I highly recommend you at some point to watch any of the business shows, and one comes to mind that I personally was a huge fan. It was called Shark Tank, and I'm sure you can go back and you can review the session. Sometimes some episodes they were frustrating because you can see that Shark Tank in the house. Oh, that's awesome. Sometimes you can tell that they were great ideas, but unfortunately, when they were receiving or trying to work with the questions or the challenges that some of the judges that were putting in front of them, the business owner and the entrepreneurs either they were nervous or they didn't have certain information of the businesses, and that's why they lost a big opportunity to get on board some investments or some extremely important partnerships. And as I started to watch this, and then when I'm interacting with my own clients, I can see why these sharks sometimes they were getting on board on some ideas, or sometimes they were passing on these ideas, and it was the lack of knowledge. I'm gonna give you an example. One of the communications that you need to learn, and I'm gonna tell you from the banking perspective, is if I'm going to speak with, let's say, Wanda, and then Wanda's going to meet with her banker, and Wanda at some point is going to ask for some sort of a credit type, right? So Wanda's going to say, okay, Omar, I would like to get $50,000. And I said, fantastic, Wanda. So what do you need that for? So depending on the answers that one is going to give me, that is going to generate either confidence or is going to generate some sort of fear or risk about this conversation. So tip number one, if you are going to work with anyone, if you're going to say, okay, Omar, I'm looking for $50,000 loan. And I said, fantastic. What are you looking to do with this? What is this for? So if Marisol is gonna say, well, out of the 50,000, maybe I'm gonna get 20 and I'm gonna invest it in publicity, and then 10 I need a vehicle, and then I'm gonna leave 10,000 more on reserve and 10,000 maybe for social media. At that point I'm like, oh, okay, let me see what I can do. And then right there he's like, I don't know. But on the other hand, if I'm going to talk to Candida, and then Candida said, well, Omar, out of the 50,000, I need 22,750 to buy this vehicle and to register my vehicle, and then I will take 7,500 for a social media campaign, which is 3,000 for Facebook and 4,000 for Instagram or any other social media platform that you're looking for. And then also need 7,000, which is going to be the reserve of, I don't know, payroll for the next 3 or 4 weeks while I'm launching my product. And then the remaining balance, I'm going to use it to buy this equipment that is going to cost me X, Y, and Z. At that point, it's going to generate trust and confidence that I know exactly what are you looking to do with these funds. I know exactly that you have done a research and you have it clear. You have clear that idea and you have clear that investment. Okay. It's the same whenever you're going to present your idea to anyone, even to a client. When I'm going to, if I'm gonna meet you at any event, and then you're gonna say, look, my name is, I don't know, Kimberly, and I would like you to come and visit me or listen to my idea. And then if you tell me in 2 or 3 minutes exactly what are you looking to do, and with but such clarity that I know, and then if you know your added value or your competitive advantage, that's when it's going to make a difference for me. That is when I'm going to be like, okay, tell me more. Sometimes when we are pitching ideas, and I'm super guilty on that one. My background, I'm Latino, and being Latino, our languages are considered high context. So Spanish is a beautiful language, but it's not just Spanish. It's high context languages are most of the languages that they're derived from Latin. So French and Arabic and Spanish, Portuguese. So we trained to go around in circles because our languages are so rich, and we were raised on kind of like add a lot of words into oh, great. It's adding a lot of words, trying to make it beautiful, and sometimes we try to over explain stuff. We try to over talk about certain things, and unfortunately here in the US, that's one of the challenges, because here English is a short context, which means depending on the situation, you can use the same word to say certain things. The other hand, some high context languages, we have 4, 5, or 6 words to express only one thing. So it was a challenge for me sometimes trying to go straight to the main point and saying, bringing value, but saying what was necessary in spirit of time. And it's a challenge that sometimes I still working on that, and I need to catch myself when I'm either running a meeting for my team or when I'm speaking with clients. And I noticed that some of my relationship managers, we're trying to do that. Because at the end, when you're presenting your business, it's like you're doing a sales pitch, right? And whenever we're doing this, there is a mistake that we usually make, and is we think that the one that talks the most is the one that has more opportunity to sell. And let me give you ladies some news. That's not the case. In sales is the one that listens the most and ask the right amount of questions. And these key questions are the ones that win. So, and even I actually mentioned that last week, that I learned from one of my peers. They said Omar is a conversation, not an interrogation. So we need to have this very clear. And also, as a business owners, uh, if someone is asking you a particular question, you answer with, you address that question. Because once again, if somebody's going to ask me, and this could be a question, we mentioned that last week on the part of the operations, how much you need to generate on revenues to get to your breaking point, to get to the point that you keep the lights on, right? To get to the point that you have your business, at least that you can open, you can continue having the doors open. And either that number, you can do it by week, you can do it by weekly or by month, but that's a number that you have to have super, super clear. So if somebody's going to ask me, hey, Omar, um, how much you need to generate just to be able to cover your basic cost or your basic expenses, my answer has to be almost instant. I have to sell $1,235. And that right there, and it's going to generate confidence. So remember the other question that I asked you, ladies, last week, how much is your hour worth? And that's something that you need to know like that. my hour is worth $250. And or sometimes if you are working on the services, what is the net margin or the profit margin that you're looking on your business, depending on the industry. And that's why I kept stressing this. In the food industries, whenever you can see the big margins, and they usually in the 40s, maybe sometimes in the 50%. Some of the services they are in the 20% and the 30%. So that's something that you need to keep clear as well. And if you already forgot about our conversation, that's a conversation whenever we were discussing about the negotiation piece. Whenever you're gonna be sitting with someone, and if that person comes and said, "Okay, Jojo, if I buy you, I don't know, 10 pieces of this instead of one, what will be your best price? Or if I become a reoccurring client, what kind of discounts you can give me? Or how about if I pay you cash?" So knowing your numbers and knowing these margins are going to give you better negotiation power and better decision making on these particular situations. Remember that everything comes by the first impression. And also, sometimes if we don't have a first impression, that's totally fine when we come back either to our clients or we come back to our investors and say, show some sort of vulnerability and be accountable and say, hey, maybe I wasn't expressing myself well, or maybe this is what I wanted to say, because there is a lot of factors that come to play whenever we're having these particular situations. One of the big factors that sometimes we don't keep in mind is the fact that you can get nervous. Yeah, and sometimes when we are nervous in these particular situations, in these scenarios, you can forget your stuff. Right? Happen to the best of the best, even to professionals, to singers and all the stuff. Sometimes they're on stage, they forget the lyrics, they forget the songs, right? And I've seen it, and that had happened to me at some point. So, and the best thing that I can recommend you in these particular situations is A, rehearse and practice and practice and practice more. And and I've seen it in team, believe me, I've seen it for the biggest executives, and I've been to presentations with professionals that they do this for a living, delivering speeches and all these kind of things. And every single time they practice and they go and they grab the microphone because they practice from the way that they grab the microphone, the way that they're having this body language, the way that they are using the words, and they practice in front of the mirror. Some of them they record themselves. Some of them they kind of like review and say, I might be talking too much on this. I might why I didn't say that. And this happens to all of us. That's the best advice that and the best feedback that I got from relationship managers, especially when they join my team. After you have a nice presentation with a client or with some other partners, then you start kind of like to review that word by word, and you're like, shoot, I didn't say this, or shoot, I talked too much about this, or next time I shouldn't be using this word. I need to be using this. But the best way for you to reduce that risk of forgetting the words or forgetting what you're saying is to practice and practice and practice more, because that becomes instinctive. And even like you, every single one of you, you're gonna come to a point that is like, I don't know if you remember, like when you're playing the old DVD players, that you only need to press play because you rehearse that much. You just open your mouth and then all the words start to come out, and you are able to do a great presentation. So that's basically whatever we needed to talk now. I will address all your questions and real cases, but the main thing is you need to know your data. If someone is going to ask a question and you don't know your data, forget it, because you don't generate confidence, you don't generate trust. And I will tell you, say, hey, if I'm talking to a Bonnie and I'm asking her about her business, there is absolutely no one that knows her business better than herself. So if I'm asking you a question and then you hesitate with the answer and you're like, oh, that kills my intention or any passion that I had about your business. So in at some point, um, give me 1 second, Wanda, and at some point you're gonna be like, oh, this guy keeps saying the same thing over and over. And believe me, you are not going to hear that from me enough because it is so crazy that nowadays with experienced entrepreneurs and they still don't know that data. And not knowing the data, it is crucial because for potential credits, potential growth, we just basically like walk away from that. So know your data. It's not just your numbers. Your data means know your geographic area, know your main competitors, know the cost of that, know your competitive advantage, your value, have clear or clarity on what your goals are. Like if my goal is to sell 100 this year, what will be your goal for next year? My goal for next year is to sell 110, or my goal is to sell 150. And how are you going to do that? Well, thank you for asking me. I'm going to do this like X, Y, Z. So now you're going to confirm why the importance of a solid business plan. So now is when all these classes are going to start to make sense and everything is going to start to get connected for you. Because once you know this, then if you're super obsessive with your business and your numbers, that passion, that passion gets contagious, and that's how you attract new investors. Sometimes people, they don't necessarily invest on the numbers of the company, they invest on the owner of the company and the passion, the passion and how good is the person that is running the show. And then I will tell you why later. So I haven't forget about you, Wanda. So please ask me your question.
Thank you. Okay, just I want to make sure I'm hearing you right. You said always know your. So are you saying you should always know your monthly income or your weekly gross and what it takes to manage like the business for that month? How will I increase revenue? Is that what you're kind of saying?
Yes, that part of it. So what kind of business do you have, Wanda?
Medical transportation.
Medical transportation. That means equipment or what kind of
I
or
transport. I'm sorry. Let me finish.
or patients or what kind of transportation?
It's medical transportation, and you have to have Medicaid. And I transport patients, clients to and from their appointments, whether it's dialysis or chemo treatment or just a well visit or an urgent care visit, an eyeglass appointment. If you have Medicaid, New York state law, you're able to get a medical right to your doctors.
Excellent, excellent. First of all, that's such a novel business, and I appreciate that. Look, so in your case, I will. Oh my God! Like, let's say that you and I were having so a conversation, and because I'm so intrigued about this, and sometimes I might have a little bit of an idea, or maybe I don't even know anything about medical transportation. So I will be asking you a lot of things. And because if I'm interested on your company, I would like to learn about your company from a different angle, and I would like to have a better idea in order for me to make a decision whether if I will be a potential investor or whether if I'm gonna be the banker that is going to present your idea to the underwriters at some point, or whether if I will be a client that is interested to acquire your services. So in your case, I will be asking you things like, okay, so how many vehicles do you have in this case? And what is the capacity on each vehicle? How many patients you are able to transport? And what are the peak hours, or do you have any set contracts with, I don't know, insurance companies, or who who pays you, the government, the insurance companies, and how this works? You pick them up from their own residences and then you drop them off, and how often you can do, how many trips you can do on a daily basis, how many trips you can do on a weekly basis, and depending on your vehicle, if it's only one driver or two drivers. So um, uh, what is the area, or how far you can go? What is what kind of fuel you use? You use diesel, you use gas, and you know how many days or miles you can run with these cars, and all these kind of things, and what else is involved, how often you have to service those vehicles. And there's so many questions, as much as you give me answers and I keep asking questions. So then at some point I will tell you, so Wanda, uh what will be, how, and then the employees, how you paying them? Are you 1099s? Are you the W-2s? uh, what is your job on the company? So you're running one of these vehicles, or you just coordinating everything? What is your salary? And all these kind of things. And then I will ask you, so what is that magic number that is going to be able to help you to break even? And you can give me that number. At the end, if you give it to me on a monthly basis, if you said 100, that comes to my mind is already like 25 a week, right? And then out of that, I will say is around four a day. And I will have a better idea if I ask you, okay, Wanda, so are you operating 7 days a week? Are you operating 5 days a week? What are the time frames that you're operating? Because I would like to have an idea if some overtime is involved, or some nights are involved, or eventually weekends or holidays. So you see what I'm talking about? Like,
Thank you so much. That was a great help. I mean,
yeah.
yes. I got it.
So
I can see it from a different point of view now. Thank you.
you're welcome. So I don't want to confuse anyone, but I hope you understand what I'm going to, and what I'm coming from with this, knowing your business, and how you need to be obsessed with your business. And at some point there will be curveballs questions that, who's your main competitor, and what makes you different, why you think your idea or your company is better, and what's the plan, what's next, what are the plans to grow. The theater actors were actually really helpful. Oh, who said that? I love it.
That was me.
Anybody?
I was responding to someone's question about tips, but the presentation tips. But those kinds of things are really helpful, even though they feel really silly.
Yeah, 100% right. I know the name of your company, who's phrasing, but I totally forget your name. Kimberly, uh, from Encanto?
Oh,
No,
Tiffany. Tiffany.
Tiffany. My apologies, but last week I was taking this from my house. Now I'm still on the bank, so my notepad I left on my house. But Hi, Tiffany.
Hi, how are you? Hope you're doing well today.
I'm doing good. Monday, beautiful
Monday.
day here in New England.
Yeah. Um,
Tons of meetings. I'm sure you are busy as well.
yeah, I've been getting busier because the summertime is coming and that's my busy season for the beauty industry. So I'm a little
People
tired.
need to be beautiful for the
Yeah,
summertime, right?
las mujeres le encanta ponerse bella.
Claro que sí.
Claro que sí. So my fear with like speaking, I know what to say. I have like a script written down that I've been timing myself. Like big words in English, I tend to stumble a lot because I'm bilingual. Do you have any tips and exercises for me to say it smoothly without stuttering or make like sounding like I'm nervous? Like the word profitability, I can't say it right unless I stutter or I have to really practice certain words. So, any helpful tips?
Oh my goodness, yeah. I mean, it's not like I'm a great English speaker. I came to United States after I was old already. I came here when I was like 24 or 25. So, one of one of the words that it took me months to learn was refrigerator. And I
Mm,
still struggle with that. And I was refrigerator. So my best tip is a couple of things. Profitability, try to pronounce it like Spanish first, like you read it, and then you keep
profitability.
repeating that. But the main point that you're making with this, and I love this, Tiffany, is, and I'm gonna give a quick example that we use on my team. You need to be you. You need to have your own personality.
Mm,
I wish my English is as extensive as my children that they were born in here. I wish that I don't have any accent, but
mm.
but unfortunately I do. And we speak in my house Portuguese, so my accent is even
Oh,
worse.
wow.
So um,
That's beautiful.
what? Yeah, thank you. But what I can tell you is that sometimes when I speak too much Spanish, I caught myself that I speak faster when I switch to English,
Hmm.
and I start to speak like a miles per hour. And even my team, and I encourage them all the time. They said, hey,
That's my
slow
problem
down.
too. Like, yo hablo
So
rápido, and that's my issue also. Like, my clients tell me, like, when I'm practicing, my recommendation is to slow down. I sound really nervous, or I'm trying to, like, hablar bien clarito.
you know, Tiffany, and another thing is, I noticed when I was getting nervous, and most of us, and when you have your script, when you're getting nervous, is a human nature. You try to kind of like read it, but you're not reading it, just like talk about it, but you
Like a
want that to
conversation.
be over with. And
Yeah.
then so you want to speak like fast, and you feel like you get more confidence
Hmm.
speaking fast. And that's not the case. And whenever I was catching myself speaking fast, I was able to see on my audience the their faces. When you can tell the engagement on your recipient, because at the end of the communication there is two parties. You are the the one that is generating, or the one that starts the conversation, and the receptor, right? So you need to know your audience. And then because it's not necessarily about the velocity of your pitch. I always I always recommend, and once again, I, I I learned that on my own, that when I'm speaking too fast, people are not getting the message. And even
Yeah.
if I'm running out of time, I'd rather to choose a couple of topics, and I say it slow. And at, at first it's a challenge, but when I said be yourself, is if you don't use certain words all the time, don't use them then, or try to say that in a different way that has your own personality, your own, because at the end, when you're going to do the pitch, you at some point this pitch is going to be natural. It's going to come like a conversation. I'm going to give an example. When you talk to a parent, and if they have, when you talk to this person, whether if he's a father of a mother, when you talk about their children, that's it. They keep talking to you and they don't need any pitch, right? When you talk about to someone about their pets, they don't need any pitch. They can tell you all about cats or dogs or fish or I don't know, you name it, right? When you talk about to someone about their passion, I don't know, some men that love sports, some men that love cars. When if you ask my wife about, I don't know, some sort of perfumes or some things on your industry, aesthetics and all the stuff, they talk to this with this passion and it's natural, and that's how you need to find that medium. And let me tell you the exercise that I have with my sometimes with my team. So usually when I call you and say, hey Tiffany, what's up, how's it going, what kind of plans do you have for the summer, or whatever you just told me, right? And you feel comfortable that having a conversation, and you feel like, hey, that's a good banker, like we have a relationship, a professional relationship, right? Then if I'm going to send you an email and I'm going to say, dear Miss Tiffany, good afternoon. I would love to follow up on a recent conversation about your plans for this new season, this upcoming season, all this stuff. At that point, you will be like, that's not Omar.
Yeah.
Omar was telling me that, hey, what's up, Tiffany? So those kind of things, you need to make them to go hand to hand, because at the end, nowadays, people are not picking up the phones anymore. People react better to text messages. People react better to an email. And then they sometimes they only need one interaction with you, whether on the camera, whether face to face, or whether over the phone. But then going forward, they are more uh, receptive to text messages or emails, believe it or not. And that's the way that is going our situation. They only answer phone calls whenever they feel like it's better to have a conversation. But if that everything can be done like with on the phone with text message or whatever is the case, I guarantee you that will be they will rather to do that. And it's not just that. Sometimes people are busy and people they don't have a time to dedicate for the phone call and all these kind of things. So going back to your challenges, just practice, make it on your own. And if you're using the word profitability for whatever you're trying to explain, nowadays with ChatGPT, you might have, I'm gonna give you a tip, whatever you have on your script, just put it in ChatGPT and just rewrite it or make it simpler or something like that. And you're gonna have like 3 or 4 options that you feel more identified on using the words that you can use. And then you can make it yours with the cadence, with your personality. And that's something that I have a super diverse team. And I cannot expect that every single relationship manager of my team, they will present their products and services on the same manner, because all of us were different backgrounds, different personalities, different nationalities, different races, and all of us were totally different. We just have like core, like some like guidelines, and then you make it on your own, and that's how you become more successful when you are genuine, when you are authentic, that's contagious. And that's when people, they got like, wow, I love that. And maybe you're gonna discover different ways to present it. And I don't know, depending on your personality, if you want to make it fun, if you want to make it interesting, if you want to make it sophisticated, I don't know. It's different. And I'm sure you've seen different kind of like people that they come here and do some presentations for you. And it's not like they're right or wrong. It's just different, different approaches. But at the end, make sure that the quality of the presentation, like the numbers and everything, they're gonna be accurate. And that's what, because at the end, Tiffany, keep in mind that numbers, they don't have any accents. The same numbers that we have here in the US are the same numbers in Puerto Rico, in Colombia, and in most of the countries and most of the world. So just keep it in mind, but keep practicing.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay. You're welcome. Any other questions? So more tips on the communication. And thank you, Tiffany, for that. Make sure that we use simple words, or we make it simple, because some of your ideas might be into complicated industries. Um, I, I think last week we hear about someone on the billing company. Now we had today Wanda's case on the transportation of medical transportation, and now Tiffany in the aesthetics industry. Some of these that might be complicated from some people, and sometimes what you're looking to get is simplicity. And especially, for instance, me on the banking industry, some of my clients, they're looking to get a banker or relationship manager that they make things easier and much simpler for them to understand how this industry works. Well, you are not an exception. You need to make sometimes the services and the products that you offer, you need to make them simple to your clients, not hiding important information, but making like more attractive on this presentation. Okay. You also need to know what your mission is, why you started your own company, why you had that crazy idea, and why you decided to open your own business, and why that industry, why that business. And maybe sometimes you wanted to solve a need that was out there. Sometimes you had that passion since you were a child, or for whatever reason that you're opening, but you need to have this clear, super clear. Also, you need to be consistent, that the same conversation that I'm having today with Anne, or with Jojo, is the same conversation that I will have tomorrow about the values, about the problem that I'm trying to solve, about my product. And I want to be clear on this. It doesn't mean that my product or my service is not going to evolve. That's different. What I'm meaning is the value and the problem that I'm trying to solve. But all companies, they grow, and all companies, they evolve with the time, because times change. We use the analogies that 3 years ago, or maybe 5 years ago, there were companies that they were able to sell copier machines or maybe faxes. Nowadays, they might be the same brand, Canon, but they're not selling these particular items. The brand is evolving because the 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 environment is different, and we are getting more technology, and we're growing. The same with some products, the same with some services, and that goes almost on every single industry. So keep it in mind. Also, you need to adapt and that's part of your pitch and your communication. Um, you need to adapt with the environment. So I just mentioned about the emails, I mentioned about the text messaging, I mentioned about the phone calls, and even little details, little details that are so important. You need to think and act as the greatest executive of your own company. That means that wherever, if you are using, look, I just had my pocket on my jacket. On every jacket that I carry around, I have some of these, and I have a stack of these. And if I grab my wallet, I have a few of them. And if I open anything of my car, I have a few of them. So wherever you go, you need to, if you don't use nowadays business cards, it's not like they're continue being popular. Make sure that you have a digital business card, okay? That wherever you go, you need to be talking about it. You need, if you go to, I don't know, your hairdresser, I hope he or she, they know what is all your company about it. And I hope he or she, they're sick and tired of listening to Marisol all the time pitching your own business and asking you if you have any friends or family that they would love to be part of your business or they would love to get your services, okay? And so make sure that you have a great voicemail on your cell phones and make sure that you have capacity to leave for me to be able to leave a message for your company. Make sure that you check your emails and your emails the way that you're like little things, team, from your signature. If you're the president of your company, so you sign Candida Johnson, president of this company, this is my phone number and this is my email address. Because at the end, if we talk about communication, the main goal for all of us is trying to get calls back, right? Trying to get people to contact us again, to come back to me. And you'll be shocked that some of entrepreneurs that I've seen and I've known, when I'm trying to call them for any service and I want to leave a voicemail, their voicemail is full. And I'm saying like, wow, they're trying to sell something, but if their voicemail is full, how am I gonna get back to them? Or if I send an email, sometimes you don't even get an answer because people are not even answering the emails. So you are on the other side and try to be conscious about it. Everything that comes from you, even if it isn't a text message, don't write the same way a text message that you write it to your friends or family members. Try to make it a little bit more professional and more structured, but you need to do it as you're practicing. As a quick tip, whoever is an iPhone user from here on the team, on the iPhones there is something, I'm sure on every phone nowadays, but the iPhones they have something that is called a subject line. I don't know if you have noticed that on your iPhones when you're texting and there is like a subject line. And if you type something on the subject line that comes with bold letters, I use that all the time. As a matter of fact, Marisol, I was texting you today and I used the subject line because I didn't know if you had my name saved on your cell phone. That's why I did it that way, because I want you to be like, oh, this is someone that I would like to speak with instead of someone that is trying to sell me, I don't know, vacuums or something, or trying to defraud me. So those
Mhm.
little things are so important when you're trying to communicate. And keep in mind, the communication is not just necessarily to a panel of judges. It's something that you need to be doing every day, every single time. So you need to have this basis super solid. You have to have your email signature. You have to have some sort of business cards, a nice voicemail, a pleasant voicemail. And also you need to practice on leaving voicemails as well. And you need to be also conscious about, am I leaving a voicemail when I'm driving and maybe that sounds like I'm on the middle of a highway? Or I'm leaving a voicemail when I'm arguing with my children, and then maybe my potential client is gonna hear that. All these little things are super important, and just keep in mind, you are the top executive of your own organization, and you need to think like and act like. Little details like that, they make a huge difference. Either whenever you're looking for an investment, you're looking for a partner, or you're looking to land large clients. Okay. Then social media. How you handling your social media besides the main two or three big ones? If you are trying to present your idea to the world, so make sure that your social media speaks for the professionalism of your company. Make sure that your LinkedIn profile is a very professional, is something that has the clarity on what I'm offering, because some people, they would like to validate some conversations that they're having with you. They would love to validate that on your social media. They would love to validate that on your LinkedIn account if you have one, because those are the type of verifications. Sometimes I said, "Oh my God, I had such a great conversation with Kimberly." And you know what? Let me see who's Kimberly Mitchell. And then I will go ahead and I will go to LinkedIn and I will go to Facebook or Instagram or something that shows me who is this potential person. And trust me, if you're trying to pitch this to investors, to clients or something, the first thing that they will do is to search for your company, to see if you have a website, to see if you have social media, and see how you present your own business in there. And it's not about having a lot of resources and putting in that, because you open a social media page, I don't have to pay anything, but it's how you organize it and how, what kind of information you put in there. The in-person interactions and the fun and customer, we already reviewed that. Um, Also, be ready, because sometimes at some point you're going to, people do the pitches all the time and they practice the scripts all the time. But remember, when you're talking to a client, sometimes it's like an interview. The client is interviewing you and your company and your organization to see if you are the right fit for whatever they're looking for. And part of this process, they will ask you unexpected questions, because you might be ready with certain questions, but the clients might be asking you different questions. And that's when, like, the curveballs, questions that you're not expecting, and that's when the obsession about the information and the passion comes to. And one of the questions could be is like, tell me about some of the challenges that you face opening your business. Tell me about some of the success stories that you had when you opened your business. So always be clear about this. Um, Nowadays, it's super important, team, very important. What kind of involvement you have with the community? How you're helping your community? How you're helping like the environment and something like that? And are you involved with the community or not? And what kind of like contributions you or your business are having to this crazy environment nowadays? It's very important for many people, and certainly wouldn't be a difference for you. So keep that in mind. And it's not like you have to go ahead and save the animals and all these kind of things, but some way, somehow, your business is connected to some sort of a noble reason, or or your community. So you helping, or you are addressing some way, somehow, some issues that you had identified before. And make sure that if you are already working with clients, part of the communications is also to get new clients. And how you get new clients? Asking for referrals. I don't know if you already saw this on this course. If you haven't seen it, let me give you some news. You might see it soon. So, how do you ask for referrals, and how you get introduce yourself um, with another client for referrals? Okay, because at the end, the more clients that you have, the more revenue that you bring to your business. And that's, I'm sure that's your main goal, right? If you want to grow your business. So how you going to attract new clients? And at some point, you need to know how much it's going to cost you to bring new clients, or how much it's going to cost you to have a client that down the road you will learn from some other professional that they will come to you and give you an idea about it. And you have to have clear goals of your company. What's what you're trying to accomplish in your company? Clear goals on financially speaking, whether if it's sales target, or a number of clients, or whatever is the case. So you have to have that super clear, the goals for this year, the goals for next year. Also, you have to have a very structured process in place for everything that you do on your company. Structure, what I mean is, you must have a process when you're executing your own service or product. The way that you are, I don't know, if I'm making something like I'm gonna continue using the empanadas. Like if I get here the dough, and then I can here the rice, and then I created like stations, that's gonna be my process. But then there will be other processes involved on this particular company. How I'm calling the clients, how I'm doing with the packaging of my empanadas, how I'm billing my clients, how I'm going to follow up with them. Maybe I will survey a quick Google review that I ask to my clients. And I would like you to have this very well defined. And this is why. Down the road, you are going to grow. Okay. And whenever you're growing, then you need to have a new manager, and then you're going to have salespeople, and then you're going to have additional operators. And as you're going, you need to have this super well-defined process in place, because there is not going to be, there is no way that you will be able to do all these different jobs or positions within your own company. And if you want your company to succeed, you have to train your new or future employees very well. And you want them to, at some point, there will be a little clone of you. You want them to be the next Lorraine and the next Linda. You want them to be like, you want them to answer the same way that you will answer your own clients. You want them to address their challenges the same way that you will address them, because at the end, all these efforts that you put into this, and all this sweat and tears and blood that you put into this, only with one interaction, or a disgruntled employee, or someone, not intentionally, but they can damage this that you've been trying to build, right? So that's why everything has to be so well defined and so clear, because then in the future, you need to learn something that is a challenge for business owners. You need to learn on how to delegate. Because remember, you only have two hands, two arms, only one head, one mind. You only have 24 hours in the day, and then sometimes it's not even enough. You need to learn how to delegate, how to pass different tasks to teams, and that's the only way that you can grow. You can grow professionally, you can grow your company. At some point, you are not going to be able by yourself. You need to have employees and you need to have all these kind of things. And the best way for you to delegate is having well-defined processes that you can coach and you can teach your new help, and doing the same things that you're doing and maybe giving them an opportunity to do these kind of things even better. And that's how you can adopt new ideas. Remember, adapt and adopt. We need to adapt to challenging times, and we need to adopt new ideas or new ways or new processes to continue growing. Then typically some mistakes that we make when we're learning or when we're communicating to different parties as a business owner is trying to please everyone. You sometimes you want like to be different for every person and doing this, and at that point your identity or the company's identity is going to be different. The customer experience, it will be different, and sometimes you're trying to make a mistake, and sometimes we we're trying to make promises that we're not even going to deliver, right? Because you are just trying to be nice with everyone. So you know what? I'm gonna give Jojo this discount, and Bonnie, you don't have the discount, or whatever is the case, because I noticed that maybe Sean was a little upset, or so. Just try to keep it uniform, okay? Another mistake that I've seen, we are complicating the message. Remember what I said, make it simple. Make it being simple doesn't mean that I'm going to omit the importance of the matter. It's not the case, and that's when people they're afraid. If I'm going to make my page simple, it's going to be less sophisticated. That is not the case, okay? You can explain things with simplicity, but the message will be taken much better, and the message will be understood better. So, oh, I love that. Thank you, Tiffany. Um, when we're trying to appeal everyone, another mistake is inconsistency on the branding, and that's what I was telling you. The same the same treatment that I'm giving Whitney has to be for Ariana, for Tiffany, for Teresa, for everyone, because that is your company's identity, okay? And it's all about the great customer experience. And the goal, team, is not just to get uh, a bonus business one time. I want her to be a reoccurring client. So I want her to come back and to come back again and to bring me back additional, friends and family. And the only way that I can accomplish that is having a consistent experience, a pleasant experience or professional experience, whatever you identify with, but that has to be consistent, okay? And when we're presenting, um, we need to know our audience. We need to try to have some sort of empathy and sympathy for our audience and try to explain this better. And we need to identify what are we trying to solve and the benefits instead of the feature. And I'm gonna give you an example. When you're looking at TV commercials, they're not going to tell you about the, and first of all, full disclosure, I have no idea about cars, but I'm going to be a little, make myself a little fool in here. So they're not going to tell you about the horsepower. They're not going to tell you about the suspension. They're not going to tell you about all these kind of things. They're going to show you the benefits of the comfort, the luxury, or maybe the toughness. Maybe you're going to see these trucks, driving in the middle of a rain or on a desert or something like that because they're showing you the benefits. Some of um, some of the things is, for instance, when you're, and I love that, Kimberly, thank you very much. Um, when you're talking about an iPhone, is they're not going to tell you about the price. They're going to tell you about the experience, about how easy is to handle that and what are the benefits, what else you can accomplish. And then they will tell you the features, okay? Because at the end, what's important for Sasha is not important for Ariana, or is not important for me, okay? So another example, whenever you're going to buy a car, the first thing that they want you to do is to drive it. I don't know when was the last time that you have that experience, but before you jumping into any conversation, before they tell you the price, they give you the keys and they want you to take it for a spin, right? And then they start to tell you, oh, how do you feel? How about this? And they show you more benefits, right? Oh, Brianna, you look very nice. Imagine you driving around town or with your family or whatever is the case, whatever is important for you, right? And then they make you feel like great. And hey, hit the gas. And how about this? And they play some music. And depending on whatever you're looking for. And if you're looking for comfort, if you're looking for power, if you're looking for something, and then after that, they get you with the features. They tell you the features and why this is important. So make sure that, and that goes making this simple, making your product or your service more like simple, and the consistency, because sometimes when you talk to super smart people, especially in the IT space, or like scientists or something, they just go into the features, into all these kind of things that at the end you get lost. And then you need to dissect that, and you need to go ahead, and sometimes even when we speak with our own doctors, right, or healthcare professionals, and they come with all these kind of things, and you're like, okay, doc, be honest with me. So talk to me in Spanish, right? I don't get it. So that's when you start to dissect this. So make sure that you do the same and you don't fall for the same mistake. And make sure that you have a closing statement, whether it is thanking or whether what is important to you. And remember that the fact that you have competitors, it doesn't mean that you have to do the same things that they do. Okay, that's another mistake. Sometimes I wish I have better vocabulary than some of my peers. I wish I have better voice tone. Like there are peers of mine that they speak like DJs, and they have all these beautiful voices and all these kind of things. I don't have that, but I need to identify and find my own strengths and make it on my own and try to approach it in different ways. And that's what you need to have. So you need to build your own identity. You don't have to do what your main competitors are doing. You just come to the table with different things and have a closing statement. Um, oh, thank you, Tiffany. And that's your power, your uniqueness. That's your competitive advantage if you can identify that. And then make sure that you have that on your closing statement or you punchline, however you want to say it. But make sure that whenever you're practicing and you're building, whether you pitch or you script, whatever is the case, you know, the beginning, the body, and the closing statement. Oh, love this. Thank you, Sasha. Be you because everyone else is taken. That's amazing. I'm actually writing that down. Thank you. So now I think we are, Marisol, if I'm 6:25, I think we are breaking now and then
Yeah.
think on some of your questions and then we'll be back in what?
Well, how long is it, Kim? Is it 10 minutes? I'm blanking. I'm sorry.
Usually it's 15 minutes.
15. I did not give that to you guys last time. I'm sorry. Thank you, Kim. Okay, 15 minutes, guys. We'll see you back here soon then. Bye.
Thank you. So team, I hope you have a good break. So I just finished basically the agenda that I wanted to review with you. One more thing that I think is important for you to keep in mind is whenever you are scheduling a meeting with anyone, whether if he's a partner, a client, an investor, make sure that you have an agenda, even for yourself. Agenda with some sort of the topics that you'd like to discuss or what topics of interest will like to be reviewed at depending on your audience, and make sure that you have the right time for it, and that way you can prepare accordingly. Okay, these are the little mistakes that sometimes um, I've seen that not many entrepreneurs that were able to do that. Like they wanted to land an appointment with, you name it, a very important client, but they weren't prepared for this appointment or they didn't ask the question. And sometimes when you're looking for that appointment, you said, okay, thank you, Kimberly, for that opportunity. What should I be prepared on, or what would you like to discuss on this meeting, or how long time I have on this meeting with you, 30 minutes, an hour, and that way you can prepare accordingly. That being said, ladies, all ears for your questions. I think it's more about reviewing some of the real cases, and I appreciate all your participation, especially in the chat and many of the comments that you left in here. It's super important. I'm all ears.
Can it be questions from last week too, Omar?
Sure.
And feel free to come off of mute, guys.
Any questions, and even if it's not related to any of these 2 weeks, if you have any questions about any other topic or banking, and if I might have an idea, I might be able to address it. If not, you give me 24 hours and I'll get back to you via email or to Marisol.
So why
Tiffany.
I have, oh, okay. Sorry. I'll raise my hand.
Oh, I'm sorry, didn't.
You can go first if you want.
Oh, Wanda? Okay. Hi, Wanda.
What's a good tip for working on your business credit score?
That's a great question. And let's start with a very important topic. for some of the other entrepreneurs, there are different scores, and your business have a credit score as well, just as your personal. Most of the time, financial institutions, we work with Equifax for the business one. And the best way to start, Wanda, is very similar to your personal credit score. Remember, when you register your business for whatever type of organization that you're choosing, whether if it's an LLC, an S corp, or a C corp, or a sole proprietor, that tax ID number that you're getting is like when a baby is born and gets a social security number, right? So that tax ID number has no information, no financial history, no nothing. Your job is to start to build it. And how you can build it? First of all, opening a bank account with any financial institution that doesn't give you credit, but at least you start to create some sort of history with the financial industry. And then checking accounts, they don't give you credit, but they can damage your credit. How? When you overdrawn an account several times and your accounts get charged off, you get reported on the credit bureaus, or that particular account gets reported. My recommendation will be to start with small credit cards, whether if it's going to be from one of the big stores, or there are financial institutions that are more flexible providing credit cards, small credit cards, like, the big retailer stores or gas stations. You can start with the credit card, and nothing different than the personal. So use it, pay it back, use it, pay it back. The best recommendation with any credit card, if you get a credit card for $1,000, don't use the $1,000. Go up to the 50% of the limit, give or take. On the business side, business credit cards are meant to be used as a cash flow tool, but not to carry any balances. So, and if you are going to carry any balance, do your best and don't going over 50%. But when you use it and pay it off by the end of the cycle on a credit card is basically like this statement, or 30 days. When you are able to pay it off by the end of the cycle, that's how you start to build some sort of history, and you don't even have to ask for anything. The financial institution will come back and they will increase your credit limits. And then they start to generate these reports. And as you're getting good positive reports, some other financial institutions, they see that, and that's when you start to get offers in the mail with certain limits and certain things, because some other financial institutions are seeing that your companies are generating some sort of credit. Some other, when you don't have the option to get any small unsecured credit card, the best way to do is do a secure credit card. So sometimes you open a savings account for, I don't know, $1,000, $2,000, and then they can give you a credit card for the same amount, and then do the same. Use it and pay it off, use it and pay it off. Most of the credit cards, they have a 40-day cycle, which if you pay that card back within that period of time, you don't pay any interest. So that's another way for you to buy some time with the credit cards for certain costs of expenses that you have in your business. Okay. And avoid to apply left and right for different things, because every single time when you apply for something, they pull the credit, and it's nothing different like your personal credit. Every time when the financial institution pulls the credit, you have an inquiry and you lose points on that. Okay. So, and the business credit and the personal credit, they go hand to hand. and it's extremely, extremely important for the growth of your company that you take good care of this, because at some point, no matter how great your business is doing, you are going to need some sort of any credit vehicles from financial institutions to continue growing. I hope that answered your question, Wanda. Is that something like that that you were
Yes,
looking for? Or?
absolutely. I did get something in the mail. I'm gonna call and check it out. And it was for a secured gas card. You put in $500, and if you continue, like you said, to pay it off at the end of each cycle, they raise it to 1,000. Then after 3 months, if you pay do good, then they raise it again. So I'm gonna look into that one.
So the key in these offers, there is a couple of things. Sometimes there are offers that they said you're pre-approved. That sometimes when they give you that is because you already, when they give you that you're pre-approved, they give you a specific amount. Okay, that means you're approved. Or they said you are pre-selected
Yes, that's
to
how I get.
apply, and being pre-selected at the end, every company in the world they're pre-selected, right? Like everybody's welcome to apply. Being pre-selected doesn't mean much, like you can apply, but they can say yes or no. Okay. And another important thing for you to review when you trying to make a decision on to get in a credit card, check out the fees. Any annual fees, yes or no, and that will be a main driver. How much is going to cost you to take advantage of that? Okay.
Thank you.
Candidate, yes, pre-approved. That means that if I'm going to my bank and whoever is giving me this news and said, "Hey, Omar, you're pre-approved for a card," you can ask, "How much is my pre-approval for?" And then just you ask the question again. So I don't have to apply. So it's already approved. You're gonna give me a card. How much is the card and how much is gonna cost me? Is there any annual fee? Is there any additional fee? No, just you take it, no annual fees. So yeah, that was a grammatic dilemma that some years ago consumers had, because when they used to send me everything in the mail that you pre-approve, but at the end, when you want to take advantage of that approval, you were denied. So when once again, if that says that is pre-approved, you are able to take advantage of that. But ask additional questions, before you go ahead and you make a decision. Tiffany, I'm sorry.
It's okay. So, I just wanted your advice on expanding eventually in the future. So I have a suite that I rent, and September 1st will be my 3rd year on my own as a business owner. And on Saturday night, I was at a 1-year anniversary for an art studio called Amapola Arts, and I love their plaza. And I told them I can see myself in one of the spaces here with a lobby, maybe 2 to 3 rooms, something small and intimate. What steps do I take to bring on the right employees and the right team? How do I identify that without hurting my business? I think that's my fear of like training someone, that I pick the wrong person, or they run off, or they're not as committed or responsible, disciplined. How do you choose wisely?
What a great question. That's a really good question, and I hope all of us will embrace, because that might be a question that most of you can take advantage of. So first of all, you need to ask yourself, so when you're expanding, so let's say Encanto is the main source of income, right? Encanto is the one that is generating all the revenues. Did I lose Tiffany? I don't see it on the camera, so.
I believe
Am
she
I
just
here?
put her hand down. Yeah.
Okay.
Does that help you see everyone better, Omar?
Should I put my hand back up?
Oh, no. It's like it was moving.
Oh,
So the first question that Encanto is the one that is going to support the growth for your next branch. Okay. So the number one thing is how far the new location is from your main location.
mhm.
Is that far?
So the plaza that I'm interested in is like Kenton area, Highland Parkways. There is Dashes. Um, it's like a Kenmore area, New York, and I'm in Tonawanda, so it's not that far. Maybe 10 minutes.
So I'm not familiar with either or. I hope at some point I will stop by,
Mhm.
but I'm telling you about the proximity because in order to make those decisions, you need to evaluate different factors. Am I satisfying a lot of demand? Are my clients asking for additional demand? And am I having enough clients that my agenda is exploded every day? So what's going on with my current location? Can I have additional help? What is the products? I remember last week you mentioned that the waxing in the legs, I believe that you said that was the one that had the better profit and more like volume.
Yeah.
So what is the demand? What service your customers are looking for, right? So is that something that you can address in your current location, or is that something that you definitely need a new space? So another question is, are you looking to relocate or are you looking to expand?
I want to
Because,
expand. That's my biggest
okay,
goal.
no, so I'm asking you this question because it seems like if you're saying that it's that 10 minutes away, so are the potential clientele is going to be from that area. The visibility that you're looking is from a different type of clients, or they will be your current clients, the ones that are going to visit you on that location. If that's the case, you're not expanding, you kind of like relocating, right?
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Then you need to study that area and you need to go ahead and review. And either there's several tools, besides Google, and there are some other tools that even with the AI, what is the population living a mile radius or two
Like
miles or five
demographics in the
mile
area.
radius. And then out of these demographics, what is the percentage of females or the percentage of children? And then what are the ages? And that's how you have an idea, because based on that, you can decide how I'm going to penetrate this market, right? And how many people are going to need. Also, besides the lease. So if you said, because last time you said that you have a very chic boutique, but that was just you. So now what is going to happen to your existing clients? Because if you're going to open a new location, you're the one that need to run the show in the new location
Mhm.
to train and develop and welcome and all these kind of things and identify that process. So what's going to happen to your current ones? So what are you going to do?
Yeah, I'm
Right?
hoping to bring someone to be like a mini me, like you were talking about, and I can have another
100%.
esthetician, a massage therapist, a makeup artist, lash tech, and have a team of strong quality workers with distinct skills.
I love the goal, and I
Mhm.
love the goal, and that's something that my best advice, Tiffany, because you're the one that know, but sometimes growth requires solid foundation.
Yeah,
And sometimes the best business of your life could become the worst one if you are not
yeah,
prepared for. okay? I'm not trying to scare you, but I
Yeah.
want you to know what I just said earlier. I want you to know in and out what the projections could be. How many clients I need to do the wax service or the eyebrows or whatever to be able to keep the lights on. How in your industry, I know your industry fairly well. Most of these professionals that you're gonna get on board, they work, I think they work 70-30 or 60-40, and then that depending on if you provide the lotions and all the materials, and if you provide, the towels and you take care of that. So there are so many variables in that, but I will start one at a time because from no employees, you will get to 3 or 4 employees, then it will be a little challenging, especially that you will need to manage the new location. And I don't want you to put the guard down on the main location, which, by the way, team, that's one of the main mistakes that we make as entrepreneurs, that you get different ventures, but then you leave unattended the one that brought you up to here, right? The one that was giving you the main source of income. So um, do research, and I will recommend you to start with one at a time. If that's gonna be that close, if your clients, and then you can start to ask your clients. I will kind of like relocate because then you need to find a manager and you need to find someone with your personality, with your vision and all the stuff. And then you don't want to leave unattended the loyal clients, the
Yeah.
clients that no matter what, they're going and visit you in order to pursue the new ones that you don't even know what it's going to be at. But expansions is always fantastic, and that's growth. But you need to study everything from
Yeah.
equipment, from having a serious budget, like how many stretch beds I'm gonna need, how many is this according to government compliance, because I think on your industry you have to have some sort of code based on the town and some sort of permits for the services that you can offer or you
Mhm.
cannot offer, and then contemplate the services that are very typical and very popular nowadays, like can I do Botox? Can I do teeth whitening? Can I do all these kind of things? Is it legal in that town? Is it legal in that state? Because believe it or not, I can tell you up here in Rhode Island is good to have teeth or whitening in certain aesthetic clinics, and in
Mhm.
Massachusetts it's not. So that depending on the town, depending on the state, those are the questions that you have to have, and then you identify, okay, I'm gonna have these services, I'm gonna need this, and I'm gonna need a manager or one that is gonna run the show. But if you have it on your vision board, then little by little, and that's how you can land it to a reality.
Thank you
I
so
hope
much.
this helps. I don't want to be a black cloud here, but there is a lot of moving pieces behind that.
Yeah.
I see other hands. Jackie. Jackie, do you have a question? No? Okay. I saw some questions in the chat as well. Or some comments. I'm sorry.
I have a question. Going back to saying that we need to know our numbers. Um,
Sure.
One of the services that I offer is a doula closet. But part of that is from donations from the community, whether it's items or cash. Do I need to factor that into my pitch and everything that I'm doing, the amount that I'm getting donated?
So, and what's your business code? What do you do?
I'm a doula.
Okay. And how you got registered? You got registered as a non-profit, or you got registered for profit?
Right now it's just the LLC. Eventually, I would like to be nonprofit.
Okay, so right now it's an LLC for profit. So even if it's a donation, Whitney, you need to report that as an income.
Okay.
So, and then on these donations, you need to find out, are those repetitive? Are those reoccurring, or is it a one-time situation? Because believe me, if someone is doing a donation to your business some way, somehow, depending on the amounts, most likely, if these donations are coming either from a personal or from an entity, they will report that on their taxes as donations. So they will have the benefit of tax on their end, but in the US, some way, somehow, there is no dollar that gets moved that doesn't get taxed, right? So if they're having the deduction, so you have to report it on your business revenue. That will be a better question for your accountant, but in that case, even if they're not profit but if those are donations, um, they still generate revenue on your end. Okay.
Mhm. Thank you.
I hope that helps.
Yes.
Any other questions?
Go ahead, Imani.
I have a question. So when we are on like sales calls, you had said it's better to kind of listen more and then ask specific or relevant questions. What would be some of the specific questions that would be useful to ask? I guess like what type or category of question would be useful in those kinds of calls?
So what's your business scope, Imani?
So my business is written in stone and it's branding, marketing, and creative consulting. So essentially just helping businesses have a cohesive and clear brand image, and then doing copywriting to help make sure that image is known in all of their communications.
I love the background, by the way. That's super
Thanks.
cool. Um, you just helped me with the answer that you might need. So when you are talking to potential clients and you just mentioned business, you need to understand what's their vision. You need to understand what's their scope and what they want to do. Because as the professional that you are, and with your creativity and your tools and your services, you are not going to be able to provide them with the right amount of help or support or services for them to continue growing if you don't really know what they want to do. And this is for all the audience. I'm going to give an example. Let's say you and I, Manny, we grew up on the same neighborhood. We went to the same schools, and then we opened the exact same business. So I just opened another business and it's the exact same name, and both of us were successful. That doesn't mean that your own goals are going to be the same as mine, because my goals maybe will be like, you know what? I want to do this until I retire. Maybe you want to expand. You want to sell your business. You want to open another business. You want to open this, like, I don't know, national, and I just want to be local. You follow me? So doesn't matter if it's the same industry, the same age, the same profile, the same geography, there are always different goals, right? So one of the mistakes that we make when we're talking to potential clients is that we assume that one size fits all, right? That, oh, so you are in landscaping and you're doing this, so this is exactly what you need. No, right? Because sometimes Remember the example that I mentioned about the car. What's important to you is not important to me. Believe it or not, I make decisions when I switch cars on the sound system because I love music and I'm a crazy in love about music. And that for me is more important than the looks outside because I don't even see myself from the outside. I just see myself from the inside, right? So that's important to me, but not for some other people, right? So when you ask if I will be your potential customer, you said, okay, Omar, how can I help your business? I would love to learn about your business because if you help my business on growing, you will grow with me, right? And that's how you need to, when you ask these questions and you're selling your company, you need to deliver that message that I want to do this for a while with you. I want to grow with you. I want to be your partner because at the end, that's what you're doing. You're supporting companies to go to the next level, right? So that's the message that I want to hear from you. Like, I want you to give me a great tailor advice, and I want you to give me that expertise that I can use on my business. And that's how we'll make a decision. It's like I mentioned last week, I'm I'm such a dumb using tools, and I can have the greatest tool of the world. But if I don't know how to use it, it's the same as nothing, right? So I can have the best professional like you in front of me, but if you know what I'm looking to do, you're not gonna be able to help me, right? So that's what I mean when I said ask the right questions, and also asking the right questions, you will identify the opportunities on what kind of services or how can your business can help me. And sometimes you will identify, you said, you know what, Omar, I don't really think my business can help you that much. I would love to do business with you, but I don't have the services that you're looking for. Any money, believe me that clients, we appreciate honesty so much that I say, you know what? I love that. Thank you. And I guarantee you, I will walk out of that meeting and the first 5 people that I will find out, I said, gosh, I wish I could do business with her. And but I will tell people around that the great experience that I have with you. So that's what I mean when you need to ask these questions. Because in the old school is like, well, so I'm talking about written in stone, and this is what I do, and I can help you do this, and you're gonna grow, and I'm gonna put you in this platform. And I'm like, hold on, who told you that that's what I was looking for? You got it? So that's what I meant.
Well, thank you.
A pleasure. Any other questions? Well, we have some quiet audience today. I get it. It's Monday. All of us were tired. It's 7:15. Um, so I guess if we don't have any more questions, we can close it today, Marisol.
Yeah, definitely. We can close it up early. No more questions, guys. Going once, going twice. All right. Well, you guys get 15 minutes back. Omar, thank you so much. This was amazing these last 2 weeks. We really appreciate you and your dedication to our program.
Look, as I said before, it is an honor for me to be here, investing time with all of you. Um, I'm going to give you some not so good news. The road is gonna get bumpier, and sometimes you're gonna see more challenges. But believe me, you are making a difference. You are investing time in yourself, and maybe if this business venture it doesn't go well, I guarantee you, like the next one will go better because you will learn and you will have more experience and you will get more expertise. take advantage of these different platforms with Pat Stone or some other platforms. Every time when you learn something, you're investing in yourself, and knowledge is power. I hope and from the bottom of my heart that every single one of you continues succeeding. Thank you, Marisol and Pat Stone, for this opportunity. It has been a pleasure. I'm the only Omar Mellon from Citizens Bank. If at some point, if you have any additional questions or maybe the business environment, this world is very, very small. Our roads might cross at some point. So I hope that I can hear fantastic stories, but keep pushing, keep having that motivation and that thing that only entrepreneurs they have, and try to make a difference. Okay, I'm super proud of you and to be part of this journey, and keep it up. Marisol, thank you very much.
Thank you, Omar. Is it okay if I put your email in the chat?
100%. Yeah, you can
Awesome.
put my email in even my phone number.
It's the one that I have, right?
Yeah.
All right.
I don't want to say like what I told him, that sometimes I don't want to be reached out. So if someone is going to send me an email or is going to, if it's going to try to call me, most of the times I'm super busy in different meetings. So the best thing is like, hey, Omar,